All right, what's going on, everybody? Thank y'all for coming to the channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Frank. Welcome to Frank's Fiasco. New channel I just created. It's gonna be a self-improvement channel. For this first video, I really wanted to talk about my main passion right now, which is fitness, and it's a passion that I've been working at it for around 2 years, and I really just for my first video, I just really wanted to go through my entire journey of lifting and overall what I've learned, benefits I've had, struggles, and just overall just the process in hopes of overall inspiring anyone who watches or something like that. Just for context, I'm 20 years old. I'm 20 and I'm a junior in university going into my senior year, and I've been lifting for around 2 years at this point. So not too long, but I've definitely learned a lot, and we're gonna share that right now. So what I've done is I've created a timetable, all these different pictures right here, and so basically I'm just gonna go from left to right and I'm gonna narrate my journey and talk to you about it. So so starting off with this whole thing. Um, So right here, I'm about 7 or 8 years old, and um, as a kid, pretty normal, you know. I was definitely like a skinnier kid growing up when I started. Just overall pretty skinny guy. Um, this is a picture that my parents took of me when I was on a boat, just kind of chilling in my own world, doing my own thing. As a kid, I grew up very. I had a My childhood was pretty great. I moved once before, so this was in my old town or my first town that I would kind of was raised in. And my entire childhood, I was very active as a kid. So in terms of like fitness, I wasn't hitting the gym as a kid or doing anything like that, but I swam a lot. I was doing swimming lessons and trying to swim and learn and got really good at that for my age. I learned I was outside and I would do like Nerf wars and things like that with other people. I was also in Nerf wars. I was just running around a lot and just being a kid. I grew up in a house where my parents, I wasn't really inside that much. It was kind of like they really were like, you should go outside and you should go do things. And our neighborhood was so tight knit that all the other kids growing up, like we didn't grow up with phones. I didn't get my first phone until I was in middle school. So since I didn't have a phone, I just kind of went outside. I had video games and stuff, but I really just wanted to be outside way more just because I was also known as the kid who had like all the cool shit. So I had Nerf guns and I had all these toys. So I would just invite people over and we would like mess around with Nerf guns. We'd ride our bikes around. That was really cool. So like as a kid, I was just outside constantly, just really staying in shape. This is a picture of me probably, seven, maybe like 5 or 6, something like that. But overall, just wanted to show like pretty normal looking kid, not too big, just pretty skinny, you know, just just average, active kid going outside and whatnot. So what I really want to focus on is that as a kid in elementary school, my elementary school experience, and I don't want to get like too personal in this video. I really just want to talk about like fitness and how my life revolved around it. So when I was in elementary school, like I said, I was in pretty good shape. And then I moved towns, I moved 30 minutes away from my house. And then, you know, I didn't really know anyone. I didn't really talk either. Um, so for context, I'm autistic, and for me, it's very difficult to socialize. At least like, and that's not just like an autistic thing. It's just like, like when you're a kid, it's at least for some kids, it's really hard to talk to people. And I was definitely one of those kids. I really struggled trying to put myself out there. I didn't really have any friends at this point in time. And at this point, I had a really good group of friends here. Like I hung out with them a lot and we would go outside and do stuff. And then I moved towns and I didn't really have that kind of click. So like middle school, it was a lot of this was all like sixth grade. So this picture specifically was in the summer of sixth grade when I was going on vacation. And it's like, also like not to be weird, but we're going through puberty and it's like at this point I'm 5'2", but my body's getting ready to grow, so I'm putting on all this fat. At least that's what's told to me. I always just assumed that I was just fat, and that's what I'm assuming now. But in sixth grade, this was kind of I was getting bigger, stomach's growing, face and whatnot. At this time though, I started joining Boy Scouts, which was really cool for me as a youth, and this was kind of my first taste of like fitness related things when I got older because it was a lot of hiking and camping and going outside and that kind of ordeal. So that's me in my uniform with my hat really high up for some reason. But I'm getting a little bit bigger at this point. And then like you can see that in my face, just my face is super round. Just putting on weight a little bit. Definitely not as like skinny as I was over there, but also I'm blurring people's faces out who are in these pictures. So if you watch this video, I'm trying to be respectful of you and hide your identity. But yeah, I'm definitely just getting a little bigger, just going through that kind of awkward phase. I think in middle school too, like I want to talk about this later, but fitness is a big passion of mine. I would say that at this point I'm really trying to find out my purpose, and I think my purpose is, fitness related stuff. It's definitely the first thing that I've gotten into, at this point in my, young life. And for me, I remember being in middle school and just being like really depressed because I'll get into this more, but I was really sad because I I just wasn't satisfied with anything. Obviously, I'm not a very social person by nature. I do enjoy like doing stuff like this, like the podcast and talking on a camera where I know people can watch me. But like in person, I'm a very like chill kind of introvert. I'm not the loudest guy, but I do want to have people to talk to. And in this case, I had no one to talk to. And I think that also like that sort of sadness from leaving my friends really escalated and caused me to gain some weight and just like that's not a real smile. Like there's no happiness there. You know, this was a fun trip. This was whitewater rafting, but still, like my head is the size of the helmet. Like, come on. But my middle school experience, I'm gonna give a life story probably in another video, but I'm just giving context. This is me in middle school. So I'm a bit bigger in middle school and moving into the summer of seventh and eighth grade. I got a new job, so I was in Boy Scouts, like I just said in this picture. Boy Scouts is basically it's a youth program, largest youth program. It's a lot of like outdoor skills. So I became a camp counselor and went to this camp called Baiting Hollow. And in this picture, I'm definitely I lost weight actually when I went here. Clearly, like my stomach is gone. You know, I I just look better overall. My face looks better and whatnot. So at this point, this was me. This was the first year, and I just got here, which is why I look a little bit like bigger and a bit like odd. I still have these shoes, which is funny, but not a lot of muscle mass or anything like that. Very much like a like a middle school kind of body. And I'm very young here. This was when I first got to the camp, and this was at the end. So I lost a little bit of weight, which it's funny because at the time I recognized that. Like I remember coming home and everyone was like, "Oh, like you lost weight, like you did this." And also at this time in middle school, my parents had gotten a gym membership. They were going to the gym. They went to the YMCA in my town. And as a kid, I didn't really have that mindset that I have now where I want to go to the gym. And so I went like once or twice, but I just really didn't like it that much. You can kind of see the weight loss in another picture. So I look like this, and this was called staff week, which is where we showed up to set the camp up, and it was a lot of like grinding and like working long hours during the day. And excuse like the goofy outfit and the fucking the dorky glasses, but I got thinner, in my face and like just the way I look thinner and whatnot. So this was around middle school time. This whole experience, like this scouting stuff, was definitely the first instance where, because like when you're a little kid, like you're not really how do I explain this? Like you're not conscious of life yet. Like when I was a kid, like I don't know why, like everything felt like a blur. And then like I hit middle school and I was like, oh yeah, this is life. Like we're in this right now. I don't know how to like explain that. Like I like kind of gained like I don't really remember any. I don't remember too much stuff from this, but I do remember stuff like this and like that whole process of scouting and how I felt. But so this was middle school, and then I got older, and my mental health was still not that great. My mental health wasn't very good in middle school because I was being someone who I didn't want to be. And so I did this course though. The thing was is when I was doing camp and whatnot, I was still like I was good at swimming, like I said. That was my first exposure to fitness things. I've completed a lifeguard course. I believe this was freshman summer. Every single summer we would go on like a week long trip and go camping. And I believe that this was that one of the first trips we went on, probably like third or fourth. I went every year from sixth grade to junior year. So this was like freshman year. At this point, too, like this might have been like eighth grade, freshman year time. Because sixth and seventh grade, I was bigger, but then I started to like really like lose the weight that I had. Like you can see my face is a lot more kind of defined and whatnot. And so this point, like I'm definitely looking a little bit better, doing like fitness related stuff, but nothing too major as of yet. And then I wanted to share this because I think this is an important thing to talk about. This was a picture from when I didn't leave my couch for 2 days. Like legitimately, I was just laying on my couch for 2 days just because I didn't have like the drive to do anything. I didn't feel there was nothing worth doing in my life, which looking back now is like really depressing because for me, fitness was the thing that I discovered, and I was like, I want to do this forever. Like I have aspirations to be a personal trainer, start my own business, and this was one of those. I didn't. I this was it was like when it was undiscovered. I didn't know what I wanted, and that's like a really sad place to be. So this was like that. This was kind of like the worst point, honestly. Like all this stuff, like you can look at it and like it sounds happy, and I was definitely like I'm someone who like I was satisfied with this stuff, but like deep down, I really felt like this, like a lot, and that really sucked. So that was freshman and sophomore year regarding like fitness. Before fitness, like true fitness, I'll explain what that means later. Like I was really sad. I was doing things, having like a good experience, but overall, I was not the happiest person. So, I'm not gonna look at that picture completely yet, but junior year, my parents supported me a lot growing up, and they told me like seventh or eighth grade I should do a sport. And the worst part is I never listened to them. So if I could give a piece of advice now, it'd probably be to listen to your parents about stuff because one, they're probably right. At least in my case, they were right because I should have started. If I started this like June freshman sophomore year, would have saved some hassle. But in high school, uh, obviously I was doing Boy Scouts and I had like some friends I could hang out with on some weekends and once a week at meetings. But most of the days at school, I was kind of just by myself a lot, which really sucked. And I didn't have the confidence to go talk to people. So right now is junior year of winter. I joined the track team. And at this point, like my physique, I don't really have a good picture of it. I mean, I guess I can, let's see. I guess I kind of looked like this in high school. The term I use is called skinny fat. If you know what that is, it's basically I was always skinny, but I had so much body fat. I had a lot of body fat on me. And that basically, I had a skinny build, but I just had a lot of fat, essentially. I wasn't fat, but I was like in between, if that makes sense. So this picture is when this was the first instance where I looked at myself and I was like, yeah, I got in like crazy, crazy shape. So the winter season of track, I was really bad on the team. Like I was doing the workouts and I could feel myself like losing the weight Because when you're heavy like that, like the amount of like cardio when you're younger, it's so easy to like lose fat like that because we were just doing like these crazy sprints or distance workouts. Like we're running like 600 meters for 4 or 5 reps, speed twos, like high cardio, walking a lot, and then we'd go to the weight room. So it was like 5 hours of physical fitness a day. Practice would start at 2:30, and me and my friends we would stay until 6. Like we'd stay so long. And so this was junior, this was in the middle of the spring semester. At this point in time during this like spring season, I remember going home and I looked in the mirror and I had a six pack. And to me, that was so cool. Like I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, like I did something like I really wanted to. Because when I was growing up, like every school has like the athletic kids. You know what I mean? Like in middle school, there's always like the athletic kids, like they're shredded, they have like good like muscles and everything. And for me, they also had like the status. And I definitely cared about the status, but I cared way more about like how they looked. And I was like, I would always compare myself and I was like, damn, bro, like I wish I looked like them. Like that'd be so cool. I didn't have the status, obviously, but I mean, like I looked good and I was like, oh man, like this is really awesome. Like I feel so cool. You know what I mean? Still didn't really have that many friends, but I was having fun with the workouts and I was having fun like going to the gym. And this was like my first exposure to the gym as well, going consistently because our coach was the football coach. So we would go into the weight room every day after practice, kind of grind and do exercises. In addition, at this time, I was also taking a gym class. I hated gym class growing up because I didn't know how to like play sports and I wasn't really good at following the rules. So I'd always like fuck something up and people would yell at me and it made me really upset, which is why I had such a negative view on fitness for a long time because I was afraid of like that fear of messing up like sports. However, I've always been somebody who preferred individual kind of events. So lifting is a very individual thing. Like powerlifting is individual. It's you, and then you're conquering the weight that you have on the bar, and you have to complete it and do it correctly. So at this time, I was taking a bigger, faster, stronger class, which is just a weightlifting class where we would learn. In that class, I learned how to squat, learned how to deadlift, row. I learned all the compound movements, and then at that point, I remember doing them and realizing that I was actually pretty strong, like naturally, like I had a good strength and good strength genes. And I was like, oh man, I can really make something of this. Like this could be cool. And I really enjoyed it. I just like fell in love with the process. And then after that class, I think during the class, I started researching like different workouts I could do because we were just doing compound lifts. And I was like, well, that's fun, but there's other stuff besides compound lifts that I can do. So at this point of my spring season, I started to make like routines during track. I'd go to practice after school, run, and then lift with whatever our coach wanted. But then on the days I had gym, which was every other day, I was also working out. So the reason I looked like this, I got from this to this in around uh like keep in mind that I looked like this like sophomore year. Like I didn't really change that much, like my physique. But like this picture was taken when I was in eighth grade, but I looked like this 10th grade. Yeah. So the reason I changed was just like I was doing 2 workouts a day, two or three workouts. I was working out twice a day and then running. So, and then I'm also young and have a rocket metabolism. So I just burned all the fat off so quickly. And that was pretty cool. However, I mean, keep in mind, I'm also 140 pounds, pretty skinny. However, looking past this was the spring season. Now we have junior year, which was the summer. So you can see I'm very happy. At this point, I was on a sports team with there are people I could social. I knew a couple of guys from scouting and I socialized with them, but I was also just in an environment with other people. And that was really cool for me. And I started to just be really happy about that. In addition, this trip was super fun because I was in really good cardio at this point. Like I could run. I have a picture of it right here. This is kind of fast forwarding. This was during COVID. This was the kind of cardio I had at that point in time. 7.25 mile at 7:30 pace, running for 55 minutes straight. That's at the time, I mean, I ran that and I was like, shit, that was pretty good, right? So when we went on this trip, this was a big Boy Scout trip, and we went out west and where there's elevation. And for me, this me and a couple of the other kids who were athletes as well, we were smoking everyone else. And I just had so much energy and could just hike all day. And to me, like it wasn't the fact that I was beating other people, but it was the fact that I could stay with the kids who were like in shape. And that made me really happy. But this was also on vacation. Just I have the cardio at this point, but I'm just so skinny, like just really skinny. I don't know why people told me no one decided to tell me that skinny jeans were out of style, but hey, gotta learn somehow. But just this is on top of a mountain. I'm pretty shot, but I feel good. I feel good. I thought I looked pretty good. And just very skinny jeans, but that's besides the point. So I really perfected the cardio side of fitness. And this whole track journey lasted until this. So this was all in junior year. This physique was junior, winter, and junior spring. So what happened was we did cross country. Cross country, if you don't know, in so sports have a winter season, a spring season, and a fall season. Winter and spring are track. And then fall is cross country, which is like a lot of distance races where we would do a lot of races. It was a very hilly part of where I'm from. And these are my two friends right here who I still hang out with to this day. And we all made the state qualifier meet. And if you make the state qualifiers meet, if you go there and you run under a certain time, you make varsity. So this was my first year cross country, and I made the varsity team, which is the top 7 people, and I was the seventh best guy. And I made that at the very end of the season. And for me, that was just such a great accomplishment. You can see by my face, like I'm very happy in this picture because I put the work in through the whole season. And then I also got rewarded during my next track season. I got an award for the hardest working person on the team. But I realized at that moment, if I put the work into some sort of athletic pursuit, I can get a reward out of it, or if I put the work in, it's going to get recognized essentially. And if it's not going to be recognized by other people, it'll be recognized by me or other people without getting any sort of reward. So this was really cool. I ran a 5K in about 17, 18 minutes and at this meet, which was really cool. And by the way, during this whole track time, I found like a tribe of people who are my friends who I still hang out with five years later. So this was really cool. This whole track process taught me a lot. It just taught me about, like being an athlete and, going to practice, working hard. And then when you work hard and you're consistent, you reap the benefits of it. And I still love running to this day. I just don't really do it that much because I've been very involved in lifting. But it's definitely fun. Good. This was basically the foundation of all things fitness. This is these 2 years right here. Great last half of high school. So to continue this, so winter season happened, right? I'm gonna drink some water real quick. Winter season happened of track. Winter season was amazing. We we had one work the whole all the workouts. I don't have any pictures from winter because I look exactly the same. Nothing changed. Winter, I was lifting a lot more, and me and my friends were staying in the weight room a lot just because we wanted to. It was me and my friend who is right here. I'm not going to say his name. He'll probably watch the video. We, or a lot of people here, everyone probably, we were staying in like during the winter season, which is the season after this picture was taken. We were just grinding because we just loved. We started to fall in love with the gym like more than the lifting. We or more than the running. We were fantastic at running. Don't get me wrong, because I was in this group. So like this is the group. This is the group of top guys right here. Sorry about that. This is the group of top guys right here, and we were all just grinding and going to the gym, and we are lifting, and that's pretty dope. Or going to the track. But anyway, winter season happened. It was such a good season. Great PRs, great times, great. All that was phenomenal. Then COVID happened, and we couldn't run anymore. Our coach was like, go do these workouts on your own. We didn't do them at all. I tried running in COVID for like the first month. This was one of the runs I did. This was the first run of COVID I did, which was like mid-March or something like that. But we obviously never returned for our senior year. And then from April to or from March to December, I didn't really do anything. I still stayed in shape though. Not cardio wise, but I was still like pretty lean. So December, I remember my friend worked at the Y and I was my friend worked at the Y and I was like, okay, we're all just going to go to the gym. We just kind of decided to in December. I think stuff was also opening up again, but this was our first picture. This is my friend group. I still hang out with all these boys today. Um, and this was us in the weight room of the YMCA. Got 225 on the trap bar because that was a lot of weight back then for us. And this was the first workout. And then, so this was me after an entire hiatus from lifting for 7 months. Still pretty good shape, honestly, like good insertions and, pretty lean overall. But we're all wearing the masks because it was lockdown. We're trying to make the most of it. So this was my first workout of December. At this point, I want to keep in mind, I was doing the lifting part, but I was not eating correctly at all. I wasn't eating like shit, but I just wasn't eating enough to grow really, which is why my progress was really slow at this point in time, which I'm going to get into. This was December, and then this was May. This was over the summer. I don't know half of these guys to be quite frank with you, but I know a couple of them. And this was a new gym that I started going to, which is in the area. I love this gym so much. Shout out to Eastern Athletics. Fantastic gym. The lighting was just so nice. And this was in May. And for me, this was like some major progress because my shoulders blew up. My arms were getting a little bit bigger. Got some lats. My legs have always been the best part of my body. So this was the first 6 months of lifting. I think it's important to note that in this whole time of lifting, I think what really made me so passionate about it was that I had friends to go with. We went like so much. And if it wasn't all of us going, it was a couple of us every single time. And that was just so cool because we got to work out, we got to, share the camaraderie and that kind of thing. And that was really awesome at the time. So we're all lifting and that was pretty cool. So first 6 months right here, I want to say like for my experience that I mean it's a slow journey. Like 2 years, I've been doing this for 2 years and I still don't feel like I've made progress, but like you're never going to be satisfied. So looking at this picture right here, this was my squat form when I first started, which is really funny. 185 on the bar, and I just have the worst mind muscle connection ever. And my balance is just terrible. Like my right shoulder is just sagging so much. And it's just like this. This was like my starting form, and I had to fix this over time. And I just wanted to point out, like, stuff like this is going to hinder your experience. Like I had a really bad item muscle imbalance on my squat, and then my bench press was also I shit you not, my bench press looked exactly like this. And so there's things like that that you have to kind of correct over time. Moving forward, though, this was the senior year summer. So this was our senior year, senior year of March. The we got shut down, obviously. And then this was the summer after junior year, or it was either junior summer or senior summer. I might have messed that up. Anyway, though, these summers were phenomenal. It was just us and our friend, me and my friends just hanging out. We went to the beach a lot. We were playing volleyball. At this point, like we were also very active. Like it really felt like I was in like a younger kid again because I would just go out all day. We would hang out at this is my friend's yard, and we would just play volleyball for hours, like 10, 12 hours a day. At least that's what it felt like. We were just there all day and we would just like mess around. We'd go drive around and just eat. And, I was in really skinny, good shape. Really happy overall. Like, I don't look at it in this picture. I can tell you I was like, so happy. Just like being with like the boys, hanging out. It's sunny, it's nice. So at the end of my, kind of high school career, I was in good shape. And that was in part because of sports. I got a much more positive outlook at sports. And then also, I had a much more positive outlook on lifting because I obsessed over both during this time and I worked hard and I just loved it. So moving forward, I go to Buffalo now, and this was the transition to college. So I don't really have, so for context, freshman year of college, I did not lift. So I guess I was lifting from December to May, which was here. And then I stopped. So this summer I lifted. I'm pretty sure I was lifting. Just want to say, for example, like for me, I also like had visible like I was very lean. I haven't been this lean, or I wasn't this lean for a while, but we'll get to that later. So I transitioned to college and I didn't lift freshman year because I didn't have a car. I couldn't really go anywhere, but I still maintained a pretty solid fitness. Wasn't too out of shape, which was good. The mind muscle connection is crazy. Like I don't recommend this, but like when I was young, I was only like 18, right? And my metabolism, I had ran for 2 years. You don't just like forget that stuff. Like it stays for a good amount. So freshman year, I think I gained a little bit of fat probably. I don't have any pictures because I didn't do anything. But summer of freshman year, I went on this trek. I went on a trek which was 3 weeks long in it was the same trek as this, except it was a completely different group of people who weren't my Boy Scout troop. It was a bunch of random kids. It was 3 weeks long. We hiked 300 miles over 21 days. It was pretty intense. This was the beginning. I was shredded before this trek. I think I was lifting in the spring and I was just so lean. Like this is the lean, like I like it's crazy. Also, yeah, I got the shaved head. I asked for like literally a skin fade. That was crazy. I would probably never do that again. But yeah, really, really lean at this point. Overall, just this was post trek. So I lost a little bit of muscle, but just like if I had to guess my body fat, I'd say this is like 12% body fat at least. Cause like there is like literally just cuts in my like abs. Like I'm this picture, and I can't believe I'm gonna admit this. I was looking in the mirror for like an hour. I was actually like, it was just insane. I'm also very sunburned, but I was like, holy crap. So I hadn't seen myself in the mirror for like 3 weeks. So I was just so like, I was just like so crazy. Came home after this. I'm in New Mexico at this point. That's where my little expedition was. Came home, went to the gym for a little bit, pretty shredded. Had a Christmas tree in my back. It was dope. Um, at this point also, I was really lean and I had the bicep vein in high school, which was cool. I for those of you who don't really know fitness, I feel like the bicep vein is like it's like the coveted like fitness thing. Like abs are cool, but if you had the bicep vein, it's like the cherry on top. So I got the bicep vein. Also deadlifting 315, which was pretty solid at the time. I was pretty impressed with that. This was probably end of freshman year. This was like a goal physique. I was really so this is about a year, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 8 months of lifting, probably like or maybe like I lifted for 6 months here, took over the summer, so that's like 9-ish months. Then I stopped for 3 months and then I came back and this is what I looked like. So this is around like, a year. It's pretty good. Like shoulder, the thing I like most is that all the muscles I have, and I'm not saying this to like toot my own horn, I'm saying this to show you a visual of what's possible. All my muscle groups are visible. You have clear shoulders, line, bicep, tricep, my abs. I could, if the picture was lighter, you could see them through my shirt. Decent chest, jaws coming in, very solid stuff. I swear to God, I finished this rep. So at this point, the lifting, I made a gym story at this point, which I'll put in the description because I post stuff on there. I really started to care about my diet. I had always cared about my diet during track, but also I grew up around great food. My mom cooked a lot of good food for me and is just a good cook. And that's something I've taken with me when I got older and really cared about the stuff that I eat and the way that I perform. So during this process of lifting, I'm kind of a weird individual because I did take the diet part very seriously, except when I was like over the summer hanging out with my friends and going to the diner every single night eating Applebee's. But like when you're a kid, honestly, like me, I was able to get away with that stuff. If I tried doing it now, it wouldn't be as good because I'm older. But at the time, for the most part, I was eating very clean meals, pasta, corn, I think it's couscous, I think, like veggies and all that kind of good stuff. So this was kind of like I was starting to take it more seriously at this point. I remember being away for 3 weeks because 3 weeks I was away from the gym because I was in the woods hiking, and that kind of was really upsetting to me. I really did miss the gym at that point, and since then it's like I can't go more than a week without lifting. Like it pisses me off. So yeah, that's this was kind of freshman year of college. Very good first year of university. So this was also, oh man. Uh, yeah. So me and my friend right here, we are hanging out. We're hanging out. I visited him in college. I'm not gonna say where he's from because I want to keep him safe. But I'm gonna edit this out. But yeah. So we are riding scooters in the middle of the city. And, I'm just very happy at this point. One, because I'm seeing my friend after not seeing him for 3 months because we go to different universities. But overall, like life was just really good at this point. I remember this was in when was this? It was one weekend in like I guess it was the spring because we're wearing like yeah, this was spring. I remember I was happy just because like I was talking to a girl at this time. I was talking to a girl, the first girl I talked to since like high school, and I was just really, really in a good place at this time. Yeah. So to get back on the topic of like ladies and whatnot, in school, I was very, very awkward. Like, not just with guys. Like, I eventually got my guy friend group, but I was not great at talking to girls. I honestly relied on my friends to help me out a lot. And I got lucky with that. Like my friends would honestly set a lot of stuff up for me. And for me, I was really bad at like a first impression. But once I started talking, I usually did a lot better. I guess. But, you know, for me, the whole fitness thing at this point, like for me, I knew that I looked like this, and the fact that I looked like this gave me so much confidence. Like I tried not to have the biggest ego because I didn't think I was better than people. I just knew about the work that I put in, and that made me very confident, like walking around. So like me and my friend, we would just go around and we would kind of go around and talk to we went on like this kind of double date thing where me and my friend we would just like try and like pick up girls and the law of attraction I looked good. I had a good physique. I was working on other things with the way that I looked because I put so much work into my body. I was like, all right, well, let me try and like dress a certain way. Let me try and do this, do that. And so eventually I started meeting more girls. I started getting with more girls. That's not a flex. I'm not really like, I don't look at it as like a proud thing. I'm just saying that, you know, I think that the fact that I looked good definitely helped with that fact. So that was kind of this freshman. Yeah, this was around freshman year. So end of freshman year, first college year done. So with that, moving forward, we're going to get into a different topic right now, which is distractions. So at this point, I was getting more serious about lifting. This was around, let's see, probably year and a half later, year and a half, year, 8, something like that. I was getting serious and I really wanted to train more. And I had distractions get in the way. College of freshman year or sophomore year, I started getting into like the party scene more. And At this point, by the way, in this picture, I hadn't bulked really at all. I was still like relatively like not the biggest guy, lean, but not very big. Um, for some reason, and I don't know why this happened. I was going out a lot. I was smoking. I was hanging out and like parties, having a good time, honestly. Like I had left a lot of that stuff. I'm gone from it now, but at the time it was, some of them were pretty fun. And, I have good memories of it and I don't regret it. For some reason though, I got bigger during this time. Also rocked a weird looking mullet. We're not going to talk about that. But yeah, I got bigger at this point, which is weird because I was eating such shit food. And like, because I was always so hungover, I never had an opportunity to like work out on the weekends because I'd wake up at like 2 or 3 p.m. and it was like, oh man, let's go, like we got to go do work. So I got bigger. It could be just because I was lifting more and I was definitely looking at what I was eating, but not nearly as much as I was later. But, I would say like, distractions definitely came up with me. And I don't blame anyone else for that stuff because I want to take accountability of it. Who, I'm the one who was forcing myself or letting myself go to these things. So it's not other people's fault. It was my fault. And it took away from my lifting a little bit. And because of that, I actually got a little bit fat, which is, yeah, that's what's up. So sophomore year occurred of university, or yeah, sophomore year. So sophomore year, uh, went back to the ranch that I've been to multiple times, was a staff member, pretty happy at this point with the way that I look. I looked like this when I got there, but I can tell you right now from hiking all day on the ranch, I got in really good shape again. I don't really have any pictures of it because I didn't get to work out that much. I was working out like 2 or 3 times a week just because I was always in the woods doing things. Um, but I was in good shape. I didn't really look, I got smaller than this for sure, just because I wasn't eating nearly enough. I was hiking all day, but I was pretty shredded. Not nearly as shredded as like this, but good physique overall. And then I was kind of like so far, I mean, I was average and then I cut, or I was average and then I bulked, cut, bulk, mini cut, and then currently, I really started taking it seriously. I dropped all the distractions. And at this point, like I was making good progress. I was not weak. At this point, I had hit 225 on bench press. I hit 355 on deadlift. I had 380, 90 squat. I wasn't weak. It was just like the potential was being hindered by doing this stuff. So what happened is I dropped all of this, stopped doing it, went on a serious bulk. Like I was eating second this job ended in August. From August to right now, March, I bulked pretty heavy. I think the heaviest I'd ever been was in this picture, I was 175. Remember weighing myself. My end goal, this was my goal weight for the bulk was 200. I hit 200, and then I also went above that, and the heaviest I got to was 210. And right now, I'll talk about that later, but just bulked up heavy. This picture, like, also just for context, lighting does so much to images. This is a posing room in the gym that I go to at university. This gym just made me look absolutely massive, which is why I put this picture here because I'm really not this big in real life, but the picture just does so much justice. But yeah, I started partaking in powerlifting meets in the university. This is the first one I went to, 425 deadlift, pretty good stuff. Overall, like my shoulders have always been the strongest part of my body by far. Even when I was younger, I had great shoulders because I swam all the time. But overall, just getting bigger quads, bigger calves, forearms. My arms have always been kind of small compared, like at least for me, like compared to my shoulders. But I'm trying to work on that right now. But lifting pretty heavy. This is the first time I hit 405. That's pretty epic. And looking right now, the most recent thing I did was this most recent meet, which was last Sunday actually. Hit a 415 squat, So I had 4 plates on squat, 4 wheels on squat, and I had a 455 deadlift. And this was over the winter, these images. And then this is probably the biggest. Also over the winter, the end of winter break. And you can tell I'm bigger because I have very tiny hands, and my hands look like little action figure hands compared to my arms, which is hilarious when I look at it now. So that's kind of the end right here. So this is probably like me personally. I enjoy like I don't care as much about the way I look. I honestly care way more about strength, which is why I gravitate towards powerlifting and that kind of style. I just enjoy being strong. I enjoy if my numbers are going up, I'm happy. But I also got bigger, which is cool too. You know, it's all relative. So it's like, where is it? Like bring this over. Like that's right there. Boom. So this is about five. This is technically I've been lifting for 2 years while doing the right thing, but this is about 3 years of this was taken. When was this? Freshman year of high school? Freshman, no, senior year of high school, and this is junior year of college. So it's a 4 year difference. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, this is about 75 pounds gained, 130, 135. This is 215 in 75 years with not really improper, but not the fastest because I'd cut, bulked, yada, 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 just because of my jobs and having to have cardio. But, this is kind of the final result of what happened. Um, so that was kind of crazy. For me, going back to this though, which is kind of wild, is that I don't know where that picture was, but when I started in track, I remember like my P my the reason I knew I was going to be able to make progress was my bench PR at this point was my one friend was he was trying to hit 135 for like the longest time, a couple months, right? And he had done football. And then I we were doing 95 pounds for reps. And I remember I hit 135. Like he hit 135 first, but I remember hitting 135 in like a month. And it took him like 4 months to do it. And I remember at that moment I was like, oh yeah, like there's potential here, to do something. And yeah, this entire journey is over the course of around 2 years. 2 years. Yeah. So I would say, like, when I look at this, my advice for people on a fitness journey. Also, if you have any questions for me regarding this, like, obviously, I want to make more videos. I'm on break. I want to make more videos. I want to make a new video every single day. But if you have questions for me, like, leave them in the comments and I might do a Q&A video. But overall, looking at my journey and kind of what propelled it, I would personally say that consistency beats intensity any day of the week. For me, I was consistent for 2 years, and I made very good progress, in my opinion, in 2 years. So just be consistent and go at it as much as you can. And those are going to get you the results that you want. I would say in terms of workouts, I've only gone at like 70% intensity for a lot of them. I've never really gone like 100% on workouts, which is probably why my progress hasn't been like as major as it could. But, I had other obligations and I wanted to focus on them. So, yeah, that's kind of my lifting journey. And I just want to say, like, this stuff I like to make stuff like this and point it out because I just like to show that it's a process. People in the gym, I feel like like people think it takes 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. Like it takes years to build like a solid physique. It takes time. It's not quick. And when you start, like you're gonna think you're the biggest guy ever. I thought when I took this picture, I thought I was huge. I thought I was a massive person. I was like, let's go. This is so sick. But it's all relative because this kid right here gets absolutely shit on by this guy. And I'm not saying that to like make people upset, but I'm saying, it's all about the process and you should enjoy it. And, you know, this is only 2 years and I plan to do this for the rest of my life. So I'm really looking forward to making another video when it's 4 years, 5 years, 10 years. So that's what's up. Also for context, I mean, I don't know if it looks like it, but I'm a natural athlete. I don't take gear. This is very natural, naturally achievable in my opinion. Good diet, free of distractions, no alcohol, no drugs. Be consistent, and you can honestly definitely achieve, something like this. I think it's very doable. So that's it for me. That's kind of my lifting journey in a nutshell. So yeah, thank you for watching this video if you have, and I'll see y'all tomorrow for another video. Peace.